This is the PUMA Future Ultimate DNA, which is a teaser boot for the next generation of the future coming in January 2023. But because the teaser boot is the same tech-wise as the new boot, I can already now tell you what's good and also not so good about it, and hopefully help you decide whether you should consider copying a pair of these or not. Because as always, I'm JayMike, and this is my review of the Future Ultimate.
The new boot will be the 10th generation of the future when it drops, and once again, it introduces a new technology to improve the fit and feel of the boot.
It's called Power Tape, and you might recognize it from the heel of the Ultra Ultimate. But what it's supposed to do here is basically work in tandem with the mesh forefoot and the knit collar to give you a very snug and comfortable fit, but also provide enough support and lockdown to allow you to wear the boots without laces if that's what you want. But I'll get back to the Power Tape in a little bit, because the first thing you notice when you put the Futures on is this snug and especially comfortable fit. Because as you can see here, the mesh forefoot is so soft and free and just molds so effortlessly around the toes in an instant. And the same thing goes for the knit collar. It's got this nice kind of compressed feel and just transitions so well into the lower part of the leg, like it's supposed to. So it feels good. But things also get interesting up on the midfoot, which is a bit more solid and structured compared to that really soft and free forefoot. And if you believe PUMA, that is all thanks to the Power Tape. But in reality, or in my experience at least, the magic comes from the inside of the boot, the liner on the inside, which, especially up top, is a bit more rigid and feels strong to the touch, so that when you put your foot inside the boot and it starts wrapping over the top of the foot, it kind of fixates the foot in place and locks it in nicely. And I know it sounds a little bit unpleasant, and rigid doesn't sound very comfortable, but actually, unless you pull the laces really tight, it's got this more secure, locked-in fit rather than an unpleasant one, which is really good, because otherwise it wouldn't be a very nice addition. And sure, the Power Tape, it has a little bit of structure to it, but in my experience, it feels a bit more like the poster boy of the real difference maker, which is the liner. And I could be mad about it and call Power Tape a gimmick, but the package works, so okay. And in general, the fit is just nice and snug and has this sleek shape to it with a low toe box that makes it feel close, but without ever feeling claustrophobic. And while it might not feel as slipper-like as the Future Set 1.4, because there is a little bit less foam in the forefoot, it's definitely still very, very comfortable and just feels welcome when you step into it, as if the boot just immediately likes you. It's a very good feeling. And in terms of the width, there is a lot of upper to work with, and the outsole is relatively wide, so it'll embrace most foot shapes with open arms, or open Power Tape, whatever you call it.
As for the touch, PUMA have engineered a 3D texture onto the upper itself to improve grip and control on the ball.
And let's be honest, no touch element ever is gonna make you a better football player, as awesome as it would be. But, and there is a but, because compared to the last Future, it's really nice actually to have a bit of gritty texture on the ball, which does add some grip when you dribble and strike the ball. And it's not too much, it just feels like as if you get this extra amplified sensation on the ball in the heat of the moment. And I think it's a great little addition. What's also great is this low pointy toe box that adds a nimble feel when you dribble, and also, since there's a healthy amount of foam on the inside of the toe box, it gives you that hint of a soft elegance as well. So, touch-wise, will it blow your minds? Maybe not, but it performs and feels good, and at the end of the day, isn't that what we want?
The outsole builds on the very strong dynamic motion system concept from the previous boot, but has swapped half conical studs for bladed ones.
And what you get is a pretty good outsole, to be honest. It's got a nice flex in the forefoot and a rock solid midfoot, which acts as this little good base for all your aggressive movements. And speaking of aggressive movements, it's got a lot of bite, thanks to these really long, slightly aggressively shaped studs. So it's on the feisty side, but overall a stable tooling that feels as if it's made to work with your feet rather than against them. I like it.
But I promised that I'd complain later, which is now. So here are 4 annoying things that you also need to know about.
The first thing is that initially I experienced a pressure point right here on both boots, and okay, it was only in the beginning, but it did require a bit of patience to break in. And as I mentioned, I don't really like the shape of the toe box because you just got this dead space around here that just kind of ruins that one-to-one sensation, which I really enjoyed. And it was the same in the 2 previous Futures, so maybe I'm just out of luck with my foot shape. Oh, and since I had that pressure point, it might lead you to think that the heel is too tight. But actually, I could have done with more lockdown on the sides of the heel, just for when things really go down. It's not a deal breaker, but it just could have added a little bit more wow factor to the experience. And then there's the price. Now, this of course is a limited edition, so it's going to be a bit more expensive, but the regular version of the Future Ultimate will now be 220 euros. And sure, it's still great value for money, but it was just an even better deal back when it was 200 euros. And yeah, it's a better boot now, but is it 20 euros better? And I mean, people will get over it, but just, yeah, those were the days.
However, the Future is still a great boot for the money, and it just ticks a lot of boxes.
It's comfortable, it's got a really good fit out of the box, and in general, it just feels very nice to move around with the ball in. And while it might not be a big, massive revolution, I think it's a solid little step forward from the Future Set 1.4. And in general, I think it's just gonna appeal to a lot of people because basically, it just feels good. And of course, if you want one of the only 1,500 pairs in the world of the Future Ultimate DNA, well, you'll find it as always in the link to Unisport right over there. Or you can wait until the main pack drops in January. But guys, before you do anything, make sure to subscribe to the channel with the notifications on, of course. And also remember to tell me what you think of the Future Ultimate in the comment section right down below. And with those words, I'll be signing off. Cheerio.